to Dyson. Just clipping this behind, and Cairns going for a quick through turn, and he looks as though he's run out. Chappell is run out. There was never a run there. He just clipped it behind the umpire, straight to Cairns' right hand. A suicidal run was attempted, and the fourth Australian wicket goes down with a total of 120. That of Chappell, who was going so magnificently on 32. What a wasted wicket for Australia, but a marvellous breakthrough for New Zealand. Now Dyson on strike to Hadley. Just clips this one off his toes. Chappell just backing up a reasonable distance. Dyson, ball watching though, starts to run, and it just goes to the right hand. Cairns having to make a little bit of ground, but not very much. Whistles it in, and Chappell caught short of his ground. Dyson looking round there. Border on strike. First delivery from Hadley. A loud appeal for an LBW, and he looks as though he could be run out. He will be, or someone will be. It's a tremendous fiasco going on out there, and in the end, Border is run out. After facing one ball, Border is run out following the run out of Greg Chappell, and so the fifth Australian wicket goes down with a total of 120. There was a throw-in from the New Zealanders.
The shortened run-up was the start of a new era in my career. However, it wasn't accepted by the players, the media and the public. I was accused of not trying, and being New Zealand's heaviest artillery operating off a pop-gun run-up and firing corks. Those remarks totally shattered me, and I was about to quit the game. The pressure became unbearable because my professionalism was being questioned. When playing cricket 11 months of the year, my body was subjected to enormous stress. The only way I could survive the workload was to look to the future in the best interests of New Zealand cricket. I firmly believed my effectiveness wouldn't be reduced. I felt I was a better bowler, with more control and movement in the air and off the pitch. My variation was greater, and the wickets kept falling. By bowling off the shortened run-up, I felt I could play for New Zealand for a longer period of time instead of being burnt out at an earlier age.
Oh, he's hit across this one. There's a loud appeal for LBW, and he's out. Thompson hitting across this one from Hadley. Hadley takes his second wicket now, and the eighth Australian wicket goes down for 187. Hadley bowling round about mid-crease, angling it into him, pitching just outside off stump. Moving on to him, hitting him about middle and off. He only got half forward. Still his foot was on the crease.
Yardley to Hadley. And that's going to be very close to being out. Well,
I didn't hit that ball. The umpiring controversies continued, with Rod Marsh later calling our umpires incompetent.
And Yardley is just imploring the umpire. Rodney Marsh is walking away from behind the stumps in disgust, and really that's an unnecessary outburst of emotion from both of those players. Now, this is reminiscent of what went on a couple of years ago when the West Indies were here. Yardley continuing to Hadley. And Hadley goes for a big hit over extra cover. Let's see where this one drops, just over the rope, and that's 6.
That's the shot, Peter. He likes it. He wants a little bit of room, roundabout off stump, flighted delivery. See how his front foot comes. Good swing of the bat, and there she goes. No messing around. Full power behind that shot.
He's flicked this one over mid-wicket, and that'll be 4. It's a better, confident-looking shot from Hadley. Close into him. The shot was on. He clipped it, and it bounced about twice before going into the fence. Kim Hughes. And Hadley goes for it again, and this one's over mid-on. In fact, it's on top of the roof of the stand. That's a mighty blow. That one has landed on the stand over mid-on, and that's a far bigger hit than it is from the other end.
You little beauty. That felt great, right in the middle of the bat. That was by far my biggest hit.
The last 50 came up in 59 minutes of 13 overs in 2 balls. It's the quickest 50 of the innings. And he's out, caught and bowled. And that's a sad way for the innings of Bruce Edgar to come to an end.
Brucey Edgar's innings of 161 gave us the big advantage we needed. It was a typical gutsy and determined knock.
And there'll be a standing ovation for this young man from Wellington. Hadley to Laird. And there's a confident appeal for an LBW, and he's got him. So New Zealand gets the breakthrough, and Bruce Laird is out. LBW to Richard Hadley for 39.
Forward, pitching, cutting towards the leg stump. Quite a big cut there.
Come on, Brucey. Put your finger up, mate.
Getting a decision from umpire Bricknell.
At the start of the Australian second innings, I was very upset, and in sheer defiance and utter frustration, I reverted back to the longer run-up. I picked up 5 wickets. To some people it proved my decision was wrong. However, I never found it easy to alternate between the long and the short, and sooner or later I was to make a final and definite decision as to the shortened run-up.
Now just watch, it's very full, and he just spoons it up from the bottom of the bat. There's no question of that one going into the ground because he leant back on the shot, spooned it up to cover, the simplest of catches. Although Greg Chappell stood, all the New Zealanders obviously asked the question positively, and umpire Bricknell gave him out. Hadley nipping back to Jeff Thompson, and he's out LBW. Thompson playing back, looked to be right in front, nipping back from Hadley, and so the 8th Australian wicket goes down with a total of 260. And let us watch Richard Hadley here now. Pitching just outside off stump, nipping back and hitting him right in line with middle.
25 for 2 New Zealand. Lilly to Howarth. And again an appeal for an LBW decision. And Dennis Lilly doing a real song and dance as he can't believe that it's turned down. And what's the umpire's signal? There wasn't one, so it must have hit it, according to the umpire.
The Aussies made early life difficult for us. All we needed was for a top-order batsman to score 30-odd and put the game in our favour. Lance Cairns was the man for the job. A few bold hits, some miscues. It was a typical aggressive Cairnsy innings.
Cairns now goes on to 6. Yardley up to Cairns, goes for the big one, and that's a mighty 6. That's up into the stand, just under the scoreboard. Halfway up the stand. That's worth 12. And really, it only takes a couple of good overs here for Lance Cairns, and that's the end of the game. Well, up, and he flicks it. He'll probably get 4 for this. It goes down to a fine leg position. He will get 4. Lilly far too square, and no leg slip, particularly with the right arm spinner bowling around the wicket. He just cannot bowl without a leg slip. And he's edged this one. That'll be 4. He's edged this wide of Chappell at first slip. Frustrating for the Australians. Very streaky shot from Lance Cairns, but effective. Good shot by Edgar through the covers. Could be 4, but at least 3 runs. But it's 4. 4 to Edgar. He goes to 23. And the total now for New Zealand to 82 for 3. He goes for the hook this time, and it'll be 4. It's square enough to beat Thompson at deep fine leg. Poor delivery from Lilly. Obviously tiring.
Here's Alderman to Cairns. A big hit high in the air. This is falling down Thompson's throat. Now it's over the line. It's 6. Cairns is 31. New Zealand are 94 for 3.
New Zealand just 1 to win. And Edgar goes for a big one. Lilly diving and catching him, and he's out. Bruce Edgar is caught magnificently by Lilly just behind point. Coming down, trying to hit the winning runs over the top. New Zealand lose their 5th wicket at 103.
The Aussies had always underrated New Zealand cricket. It was left to me to hit the winning runs. And why not finish the match with the ultimate? Sweet success, a precious victory. The Aussies had suffered yet another humiliating defeat.
The winning run after his tremendous spell this morning. New Zealand just one to win this test match. Headley goes for it. It's over the top. And it's 6, and New Zealand have won. New Zealand have won this test match by 5 wickets, the same margin that they did in 1974 in Christchurch. And with ample time left to Hadley clinching it with a 6.